Why MBA After Engineering?
Well, look, that's an interesting question. Like, what is the dynamics of the market is like BTech plus MBA is considered as a destructive combo. I have seen many cases where people end up scoring 100 percentile and still didn't make into any IIM. That's the famous quote, right? Like, show me your 5 best friends and I will tell you how your future gonna be. So this is where you're like in IIMs. The chances of getting the 5 best friend is much of higher. Like you will be getting a really high quality peer group. So this is what you can't expect from a regular college. There are 3 major things. One is knowledge, second is expertise, third is network. There are many startups we are seeing where few of the college friends started together and they ended up making big. So this is where the networking. So I would really like to I would recommend everyone to build a strong network and that too a quality network. But according to the past analysis and trend that is going nowadays, consultancy and finance is something that someone can really look forward. Okay. If someone just starting to do their CAT, I will recommend there is this book called Arun Sharma.
So how MBA help in businesses?
Like
Hi everyone, I am Bharat. Welcome to another episode of BTech Podcast. So today I am here with my friend Ashribad Sahu, who has recently got 99.4 percentile in CAT examination, which is popularly known for MBA. So hey Ashribad, how you are doing? And so could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, doing well, Bharat. First of all, thank you for having me in your show. So let me give a brief introduction. My name is Ashribad Sahu. So I am currently a final year UG student pursuing mechanical engineering in NITIP. And to be specific, me and Bharat are batchmates, so we study in the same class. Yeah, and looking forward to have a meaningful conversation with you. So let's start.
Okay, why MBA? And also why not IT or core, and why you decided MBA? And also go through your whole CAT story. And also I have seen you, like you are so motivated. I have seen you for the past 2 years and you don't waste so much of time during class hours also. So how you motivated, and tell your whole CAT story.
Man, that nobody had said that compliment. Thanks for the compliment. So before directly delving into the answer, so let me give a brief background like where I come from.
Okay.
So basically I come from a business family. So during my formative years, during my childhood years, my father did engage me with all the entrances of business. So it helped me to learn how the whole customer engagement, how the operation and how the whole entrances of business work. So this created a firm place in my psyche. So obviously I wouldn't say it was pre-written, but somewhere down the line, everyone knew that I will end up being in my family business. And as I have to do a business, so the formal education, like I have to complete my formal education, and MBA were always in the cards. So yeah, it was predestined that I'll be doing MBA at some point of my life, but I never knew at what point. So like you asked why MBA and why now itself. So I remember like we were in our second year where you knew like the whole global recession came into the play and people were not having the job, like for a very less amount and very less comfortable life. They were slogging for a whole lot of hours, and like colleges are not having that much of huge placements. And also at that point of time, like I talked with all my senior brothers and like my cousin brothers and all, and they introduced me like this is how the whole IT thing and this is how the whole job market is placing. So at that moment it struck me like what better time to do an MBA immediately after my graduation. And that's where and what I believed is like whatever thing I wanted to do, I want to give 100%. It's not like that I'll be doing coding and I'll be doing my core subject and I'll be doing MBA and I will be managing everything. If I'll do that same, I'll end up being nowhere. So what I believe is like, why don't give MBA a try and why don't give it completely? Let's give it 100% so that I won't be having one regret. So in second year itself, I decided that yes, MBA is something that I'm gonna put whole my time, money, energy and effort. And from second year I started it's not like a abrupt change in the preparation. I started very slowly. So in first few months I started to get my basics and foundations right, and then slowly I started having books. Then I was enrolled into a coaching institute, and slowly I accelerated and picked up my preparation. And fortunately I ended up scoring pretty well.
Okay, so why MBA After Engineering?
Well, look, that's an interesting question. Like, what is the dynamics of the market is like BTech plus MBA is considered as a destructive combo. So what happens is like when an engineer start doing business, like as an engineer, you're always asked or to made pursued to deal with complex problem. So when you try to solve a problem, what do you all think is like, what are the different possibility, what are the different consequences or outcomes that you can have? So this is how you similarly solve a business problem. And to be more after doing engineering, you have a strong analytical decision making and problem solving mindset, which will be very useful, like solving the business problem. And to be more specific, we engineers are pretty good with numbers. So we are very good. So due to which we are pretty suitable to deal in the financial assets and financial problems and all. And to be more specific, let's talk in a mechanical basis. So in mechanical, you know how we read about operations, product management, product manufacturing and all. These are some of the specific knowledge that creates the foundation of operation. So yeah, engineering was the best. Look, what the currently job market is looking like, they are looking for a candidate who got both technical and management acumen. So this is one of the blend or one of the mixture that is really working. And yeah, big firms are really preferring engineers who have a management degree. So yeah, MBA after engineering.
So what was the scope of doing MBA in abroad and India?
Well, it totally depends. It totally depends on your career aspiration. What happens is when you do an MBA, after MBA, you deal with the business problem. And what I believe is customer or your target audience is the heart of a business. So when you do an MBA from abroad or let's say from India, so you end up working in India basically and you try to solve the customer problem of a local markets. So if you want to work in some Indian firms or if you want to work for the Indian customers, so you need to get the sensation or the pulse or the way how our Indian consumer thinks. So this is what the beneficiary you're going to get when you do an MBA from India itself, as you can work for a longer time in the India itself. But as if you have a wider, broader dream or you wanted to pursue you want to play at a very high level. So this is where abroad comes into play. So it totally depends on one's career aspiration. And I personally wanted to be in India and I don't want to leave India. So this is why I preferred why don't we pursue from the best of the management college?
Okay. So what was the best specialization in MBA?
See, again, this is these are some of the questions you don't have a definite answer. It totally depends it totally varies on people and people. It depends where your strength lies. Let's say you are very good with people. So you will be the one who will be choosing HR. Let's say you are very good with numbers and all. And so you will end up being in finance. So as your question said, which specialization is the best? So basically it depends how you define the best. Best in the sense, is it high paying job or a work-life balance or a long-term career growth or a short-term career growth? So these are some of the things. Everyone have their own answer and according to the strength and weaknesses, you have to choose one. But according to the past analysis and trend that is going nowadays, consultancy and finance is something that someone can really look forward for a long-term game.
So how MBA help in businesses?
MBA itself translates into business. So what happens is when you end up doing an MBA and that too from some top tier college, so they will be helping you. One thing is they will be creating pressure because this is how business is going to work you have to work under pressure. So there will be case competition. You have to solve all the cases. So they will be giving business problems where you need to think all the possibility and all the consequences that can happen. So this case competition and the case consequences, the way you solve the case, this creates an acumen or this creates an the momentum or let's say you will get an idea this is how a business problem can be solved. And this is how these are the skills that are really required in real life business problem. Let's say you got struck with some crisis. So this is where all the things that you have learned from MBA days, all the theoretical frameworks, all those theories, all the frameworks, all the models, these will come into play. And this is where you will end up having that strategic thinking and you will end up solving your business problems.
Okay. So let us know, how do you prepare for your CAT examination? Also, what is your strategy?
Well, okay. So all the viewers who don't know how the whole CAT system, let me give them a brief thing. So basically CAT comprises of 3 parts, that is VRC, which is basically English. Then comes the LRDI, logical reasoning and data interpretation. Then comes the maths part of it. So I was an ardent reader from my childhood itself. So English was not something that was really troubling me. And as an engineer, you're meant to deal with the problems and the math stuff. So math was something. And again, the LRDI was a puzzle. So it was not it was completely entire new thing, something like JEE where you need to learn for physics, chemistry and maths. It's not completely a new thing for us. Let me tell you, CAT is very simple exam. It's not to crack a CAT, you should not be slogging day long and long hours. So what my strategy is like, first of all, I believed in consistency, and what I did is like in my target, like every day I try to give my best, or I need to be hyper focused in 3 slots: one in afternoon, one in evening, one in night. And the slot time varies from 1 to 1.5 hours, because that's how our human tendency is. Like you can't focus for such a long period. So I tried to hardly study for 3 to 5 years. This is how my time varies, and those 3 section I will deal with the 3 sections like VRC, DLR. So I will distribute it, I will fix some daily targets and all, I'll try to complete it. And at the end point of my preparation, I try to give a lot of mocks, which will again help me to calm down my nerves in the D-Day itself.
Okay, how many hours do you study during the preparation?
Like, as I mentioned, like I used to have 3 slots, so each slot's like 1.5 hours. So it used to vary somewhere between 4 to 5 hours. But more than the number of hours that I used to study, it's more of the consistency that comes into play. Yeah. It's not like you are reading 4 to 5 hours just for this day itself. It's like you have to read the whole day, and you have to again raise the number of working hours, especially in the weekends, because you don't have all these academic stuffs and all.
So what was the biggest challenges during the preparation, and also how do you overcome them?
Okay, so basically, let me tell what happens. So CAT is very simple exam. So let's say, Bharat, I give you the CAT paper, and I will tell you, okay, like, Bharat, you have 3 hours of time and you can solve it. So you can definitely solve half of the question paper. I can guarantee it. And if I'll give you 4 hours of time, you can definitely crack 75% of that, 75% of the whole question paper. But what is the real challenge? You asked me about the real challenge, right? So the real challenge is the exam is not about 3 hours or 4 hours. It's about 2 hours. So the questions are not that tough. But the thing is, you have to like complete the question paper within 2 hours. So the biggest challenge that comes into play is time management. So time management is the biggest, and what I try to overcome is like, again, practicing, giving mocks and all. So it will create the sense of time, and it will rapidly increase your pace. And this is how you try to overcome the time management, by regular practices and giving mocks.
So did you join a coaching institute, or do you prepare your own, and which one do you recommend?
Okay, so initial days when I was clearing my foundation, I did it all by myself. Like I brought some books and I referred few libraries and online courses and all. But later, as I had quite of time constraint, I believe that like I jumped into a coaching. So I took coaching from Times Institute, and it's not mandatory that if one has to crack or one has to get really good marks, so he has to join coaching. But what happens is like the whole resources, like when you start preparing by your own, the whole resources is segmented, scattered all around. So it takes a lot of amount of time to gather everything. But what is one benefit that you get when you join coaching is like when you join a coaching, everything is concentrated at one point. All the resources, all the problem books, all the DPPs,
like you are having a specific time for
time and all the questions that you need to solve, all the mocks. It's not like you are finding in the online resources what mock do I need to solve today. It's everything there in that one particular website. So everything comes into a single platform. This really helps and saves a lot of time, and it will give an assurance that okay, if you're going to solve this, you will end up being, and it is designed in such a way that it can tackle any problem. Like let's say you want to clear a foundation and basics. It does have some questions regarding
that. It will categorize in the section.
Exactly. Like it's a little bit higher, then comes the advanced level and everything. So according to that, it is segregated in a very
way. Which do you mainly prefer?
Like I did a quite lot of research. Like there are few of our batchmates who like there are other person who took from Unacademy, some took from Crack, some took from Times. So again, look, at the end, coaching doesn't matter, man. Everyone will be giving you the same resources, same mocks and all. It's the one who utilizes those things. So irrespective of whatever coaching you take, it's the one who should utilize all the resources that they give, and you have to end up being scoring high.
Okay, what are the books and the resources do you recommend? Like it will be the more useful during the CAT preparation.
Okay, so if someone just starting to do their CAT, I will recommend there is this book called Arun Sharma for all the 3 sections. That is very good. Like this will really help one to clear his foundation, and they can obviously prefer some online coaching material, or they can take some online test series too.
You also have to read the newspaper daily.
Okay, so let me bring this context. Like if you are pretty bad in reading skills, or you don't have that much expertise in reading, so this is the right time to pick up. So you have
like during second year we used to read.
Yeah, we used to read newspaper articles and all. We used to read editorials. So this not only look. These are some of the skills that is not only required in CAT, like it will play a huge role in longer term. Like reading is like, you can read like the WPM, like the word per minute speed. If it increases for you, it can help you in a longer prospect. So we have to think it's like it's not for the CAT exam itself. It's like a exercise kind of thing which will be helping us in a longer term. Yeah.
Okay, so apart from the CAT score, what are the other factors it will mainly important during the consideration of admissions in MBA?
Well, this is a very interesting question because there are huge lot of contests, like there are huge lot of matrices that comes into play. Like perhaps I believe like CAT is the only exam where your past academic records still plays a role. Like your 10th score will be considered, your 12th score will be considered, your graduation, your work experience days will be. Then there are few extracurricular activities, these are considered, and there are other subsequent process that they use while like taking for the final admission. Some of them include group discussions, then comes the personal interview, and there's this section called AWT, which is analytical writing test. So they basically don't want people who can just solve questions in the CAT exam within those 2 years. Rather, they want a complete personality. So the exam is designed in such a way that it will like check the whole personality. Like you will be going through the GD thing, like the group discussion. There will be personal interview, where there will be a panel, and they will be asking, they will accessing your personality. So they want to know like how the candidate is, not only by the skill of how fast he solves the question, but rather how he thinks or how he approaches or who particularly he is in his life.
Yeah. Okay. So how important was the GD and the personal interview during like GD rounds and PI rounds, and how did you prepare for that?
Okay, so as I said, like, see, I have seen many cases where people end up scoring 100 percentile and still didn't make into any IIM.
Like they are not having the good communication.
Exactly, they don't have the communication skills. They don't have their own personality. They don't know how to face problems. So what generally happens is like this personal interview all, they are meant to be stressed. Like these are really stress interviews. The panel member wanted you to put into a stressful scenario. So they just wanted to know how you think on your feet. Like look, everyone have their own perspective or own opinion, but how one think in a pressure situation when there is pressure all around, this is where the difference comes between, and this is how they access. Like they will create a stressful situation and they will be telling you to tell the answer. So they will be accessing how you react or how you answer when you are in a pressure situation, and this is what going to help you in a longer term, because this is how the manager going to work. Like they will be totally in a stressful environment. There will be tight deadlines and all, and this is where you need to do your work. So this is something they are looking on, and there is not as a strategy for cracking GD and PI, because personal interview is all about yourself. They'll be asking you to introduce yourself. They will be asking some scenario based question. Let's assume you were stuck in this situation, so how you will react. So this is something you can't prepare for anywhere. This should be like only way to preparation is introspection. Like you need to be answering, like let's say, okay, you are in this situation, how you gonna react? No chat GPT or no online courses can teach you how you gonna react. This is an inner voice that should come like, okay man, Ashribad, this is how you should be reacting. So the like one line, if I were to conclude the whole sentence, like in PI you just need to be who you are. That's the simple thing.
What should one focus on writing the SOPs and essays for MBA applications?
Yeah, so SOPs and essays plays a huge role in MBA application, and I have seen many people who write their SOP using ChatGPT and AI tools, which doesn't really make sense, because look, everyone has their own story. Like let's say you have your own story, you have a different background, I come from a different background, we all have a different goals in our life, different reason of pursuing different things. Okay, so SOP is something very personal, and like it should be like what basic, like there should be 4 things that a SOP or essay should comprise of. One is the clarity, then comes the honesty, then comes the conviction, and then comes the structured, like the way you write. And all SOP basically means your statement of purpose. So it should align with the past background, your achievements, and your future goals that you want to achieve. So this is something that is again very personal. You have to be original. Yes, you can use all these AI boards just to refine your answer. You can refine the sentence formation and grammatical rules, but you cannot expect a whole lot of like a new answer from it, because you know better than yourself. Who knows better than yourself? No one, right? So it was supposed to be you who should be writing. There should be a clarity in the answer. You should be very clear why you want to do MBA. There should be conviction. The reader who is reading, he should really feel, oh, this is what the reason is, and he should be convinced. That's it. And it should be very honest. You should not be faking your answer, because if you will faking, you will be getting caught at some point of time. But if you will be honest, you will be who you are, irrespective of whether it is right or wrong. You will be very honest, and like For the structured part, you can use the AI tools and all, but again, it's very personal thing, and one need to be very clear about their SOPs and all.
So how the work experience and extracurricular plays a major role in these MBA, like in top B schools?
See, again, what happens is like MBA is not a place like when you start doing an MBA at some particular place, let's say you will be trained for 2 years. It's not like you know nothing about management and you will enter up to this management college and within 2 years you will learn everything about management. This is not how things work like. So what the management, like what the faculties and what the institute expect is like, before coming to the college, you should be having some prerequisite knowledge about management. You should be having some knowledge about how the whole office culture works, how the whole corporate culture works, how the whole corporate hierarchy works, how a business works, how the whole finance, how the whole sales, HR, accounting, R&D, everything works. So they wanted to know like how much, like these are some of the basic knowledge one should possess. So what happens is like when you have a work experience in some XYZ company, so basically you have a touch or a feel of how the whole business works, right? Compared to a fresher who just came out of college, because he's not aware of how the whole business things works. So this is why I think like the management institute do prefer more candidates who come from a work experience background rather than a fresher one. But again, like the freshers should not be getting demotivated. Like I am a fresher right now. I'm in my final year. But look, it doesn't require that to get that business acumen, that prerequisite business knowledge. You have to join office. You can learn by your own. You can learn by the internship. Like I personally learned from my internship that I have 3 to 4 internship and a few online courses.
We can also lead the team in the fest.
Yeah, like these are the things. This is where the extracurricular comes into play. Let's say you have led in your tech fest, your cultural fest, and many events in your college, or let's say you have worked in some internships and all. This is where the extracurricular comes into play. So this is where the experience and extracurricular comes into play while admission in the IIM.
So what is your opinion on IIMs and the other top B schools like Excel, RI, and also ISB, like these kind of top
look. So as an Indian, what we believe is like, there's a funny saying I would like to say, like it's in Hindi ki school private mein karna hai, college government mein karna hai. So obviously all the Indian youth, we wanted to do our college or our graduation and post-graduation, especially in the government centrally funded institutes. So this is where IIMs, Indian Institute of Management, comes into play. Everyone has a huge desire of doing an MBA from IIM itself, because when you enter an IIM, you will be getting a whole lot of a different, like they got a very strong alumni network. You will be enhancing your networking skill, you will be enhancing your knowledge skill, you will be enhancing your expertise, and all the big minds, let's say the professors, whoever are there, they end up being in IIM. So this is where you will be getting extra edge from other. But IIM are not the only big institute. Like how in engineering IIT and NIT comes into play. In MBA, it's not only about IIM. There are other private institutes, as you have mentioned, XLRI and ISB, Indian School of Business. These are some of the one who have really ranked higher in the global scale. So yeah, these are some of the private institutes that does come into play. Again, it all depends on what you look forward to. If you want that IIM tag, yes, you can go into the IIM tag. Or else if you want networking, yes, XLRI and ISB, they do have their own niche market. They do have their own, like a huge brand, the image and reputation. So yeah, there's no difference, I would say.
Okay.
Both are good colleges.
How different is the life at top B schools and the other normal regular colleges?
Okay, so what happens is like when you end up being in a top B school, let's say you scored 99 percentile and you ended up in, let's say, some IIM XYZ. So what will happen is like the peer group that you're gonna have, they will also be having the same sort of marks. Like so, let's say the group will be having somewhere around 99.5 to 98.5, in that range. Everyone gonna be having a slight edge over each other. So this is where you will be having a peer group who has similar knowledge or a better knowledge than you. And what happens in IIM and all is like, you will be expecting people from all background. There will be people from commerce background. There will be from philosophy, from history background. So especially what happens, and obviously engineers also. So there will be a lot of different background and there will be different people. Some will be having their own startups. Some will be running their own family business. Someone is having a huge lot of amount of work, let's say in McKinsey and all. So when you start interacting with these kind of, like, there's a famous quote, right? Like, show me your 5 best friends and I will tell you how your future gonna be. So this is where like in IIMs, the chances of getting the 5 best friend is much of higher. Like you will be getting a really high quality peer group. So this is what you can't expect from a regular college. So the peer group is the one that makes you, and look, and the networking that you're going to develop somewhere down the line in 20 years, 30 years, the peer group that you have studied with end up being some, let's say, some big CEO of some firm, or let's say one of your friend gonna start a startup, and let's say after 20 years he made something. So these are the starting point, and this is where you create a networking part. So after 20 years, you're gonna have your networking with all the big leaders, big corporate leaders, and everyone. So this is where the top IIMs is differentiated from the regular MBA colleges.
How it's gonna be the typical daily schedule of an MBA student?
Okay, daily schedule. So what happens is like when you gonna join in a corporate world, it will be very high paced. Like you won't be having that much time, and you will be always in a stressed and stressful situation. So what these MBA colleges are doing is like, before directly catapulting their student into the corporate world, they wanted them to get a feel of how it works in the corporate world. So they are designing their curriculum in such a way that you will be getting the same feel as if you are working in the corporate. So there will be highly tight deadlines in the institutes. There will be a very tightly packed curriculum where like the classes will be from 9 to 5 and all. Then there will be case competition. Then you have to submit this. Then you have to submit that. You have to submit a report there and everything. So this is where like people really learn. Yes, it is stressful. Yes, it is very highly like you have to work under pressure, but this is where you are learning, right? Like when you work for a long period of time, it will start normalizing, you will start accepting things, and it won't hurt much. So when you enter into, let's say, corporate world, you won't be finding that challenging to survive there just because you have survived that high schedule in MBA. So that is what they are trying to intend. So yeah, it will be totally stressful and all, but you will end up enjoying it. Yeah.
Okay. And also I want to know how networking is more important, as people say.
Okay. So let me tell you, there are three major things. One is knowledge, second is expertise, third is networking. Knowledge and expertise makes you specialist in one particular field, but networking is something that really gears up or fuels or amplify the knowledge and expertise. It's the networking or the kind of people that you interact with, they will decide like how your career gonna form, how your thinking gonna form, and what kind of skill set that you possess. Let's say you want to charter into an undiscovered territory. Let's say I'm in finance, and let's say you are in operation. So I got kind of rid of like, oh man, what this finance world is doing. So let's say like you are my best friend, right? So I will be telling you about how it's going in operation. I know nothing about it. I want to delve deeper into it. Why don't you give me an information? This is something like the information that you're gonna give will be of some, like that is an invaluable information. You will be giving your information from your past 20 years of work experience. So this is where the networking comes into play, and networking will help you like a peer-to-peer learning. You can discover uncharted industries, then you can easily change or switch your job, and let's say you can easily get fundings for your startups. Let's say there are many startups we are seeing where few of the college friends started together and they ended up making big. So this is where the networking. So I would really like to I would recommend everyone to build a strong network, and that to a quality network, like that to, like from a really good quality students.
Like how challenging is the curriculum, and also what was the biggest learning experience for you?
Like see, as I mentioned earlier, it is really like it's totally tight packed and everything. You will be learning every day. Like the best part of the management college is like the case competition. They'll be presenting you a real life case competition. Let's say Apple, let's say Google, let's say Microsoft, let's say McKinsey and all. So they will be giving you a real life, and there will be the best thing about an MBA college is like there will be class discussion. So let's say 200 students are sitting in a classroom, and everyone will be having their own opinion. So at the end, if every one student makes a single opinion, you will end up having 200 valid points. So this is something you can't learn from a book or some AI tool. Okay, na? So the exposure, the different perspective, the different points that you're gonna look out of 200, you could not have thought of all the 200 points, right? So this is where like then you realize, this is the kind of way the people think of. This could be a possible scenario. This could be a possible answer. So that is something that is the biggest takeaway from a management college. Yes, obviously you can learn all the marketing models from the book and everything, but this is something that is invaluable and you won't be getting anywhere. So this will be the biggest takeaway.
Okay. So what kind of internships and the industry exposure did the MBA students get in MBA?
Like what happens is like the kind of job that you personally wanted to aspire, that is the similar kind of internship they wanted to do, so that they can pre-train you before directly joining it. yes, there are a lot of companies that are coming into MBA for their internship requirement, and what eventually they do is like around 30 to 40% they end up giving them the PPO, which is basically the pre-placement offer to the student. Yeah, like you can expect from everywhere, from finance you can expect top banks to come like the JP Morgan, Deuces Bank, Bank of America and all, and from operations you can expect many FMCG brands like Unilever, ITC and all, and there are many consultancy companies like McKinsey, Bain and Co and B&G and all. And yeah, these are some of the big companies, and you expect top banks to come, and so these are some of the big companies that they will be coming.
So what is going to be the most lucrative career paths in MBA?
Like this question, like again, this question is similar to like what is the best specialization that you want to do. Again, it depends how you define the lucrative. But according to the trend, like according to the majority of the opinions, I believe that venture capitalist, investment banking, consultancy, and private working in a private equity fund, or else let's say you can be an angel investor for some company. So these are some of the 5 to 6 career growth. Like that is like where you're gonna have it. Like I wouldn't say like you will be having a work-life balance. Like when you start managing a business, work-life balance is a myth. So take it out of the room. But yes, like we are young minds, right? We are enthusiasts for money and all. So we want to earn a lot and in such a short period of time. So these are some of the career opportunity one should be like. Again, I would like to repeat: consultancy, investment banking, venture capitalist, or else you can private equity firm. So these are some of the like really good jobs one can look forward to.
Okay. Are the fees justified compared to the salary that one gets in the post MBA?
Well, if you do your MBA from top IIM, yes, it is justified. Yes, you are gonna pay somewhere around 25 to 30 lakhs in 2 years, but you will end up getting a package in that similar range. So you will end up covering it out. But what I believe is like the kind of networking that you will be doing in IIM and the kind of knowledge that you're gonna possess, like it can't be measured in fees. Like no fees can be comparable with the kind of networking that I am going to provide. So I don't think that fees should be a differentiator in making a decision. Irrespective of the fees, people should be opting for the top business school because you never know what kind of things can happen. Like you will be meeting with this top quality, top notch professor. You will be meeting with top quality peer group. So no fees can define this. Like no fees can provide you this in a single platform. So fees should not be a differentiator.
Okay. Do international opportunities may like increase significantly if you are doing MBA in India also?
Yeah, it does. It does come into play. There are many foreign companies they are hiring.
Okay.
You will be seeing all the big managerial job and everything. All are occupied by the Indian students. And as globalization is coming into play, like now borders are myth. Like everyone are working everywhere. So like this doesn't need to come to play. Like at the end of the day, like this is the problem. These are the solution I need to. Irrespective of which country I studied, which country I am going to work in. So these are the things that doesn't come into place.
Okay. Like AI is booming nowadays. So will MBA will be replaced by AI?
Yeah, man. Like what happens is like, look, I'll tell you one thing. Nothing in this world is completely black or completely white. Everything falls in a gray zone. So there is no specific answer to this. What will happen? Like what my prediction is like, all the routine works that are there in the management thing that will get automated for sure. But look, management is something like you have to deal with people. So while dealing with the people, while dealing with the stakeholders, while dealing with the clients, you need that interpersonal skills. You need that empathy. You need that sympathy. There has to be human emotion that come into play. Like you are feeding the customers, right? You are like meeting the demands of customers. So this is where the human emotions comes into play. So yes, what I believe is like AI will automate some routine work. It will increase the efficiency and it will optimize how the whole process works. But at the end of the day, there has to be human involvement. There has to be human signature in it. So yeah, like you won't be like in a shorter term. Yes, it can be hampering some part of it. But as it is taking off some jobs, it will be creating some other new jobs in other new fields. So yeah, it's again even an equilibrium thing. And I don't think like MBA will replace management job in a longer perspective. You does require human involvement in management.
So last we want to know the weightage of the academics and the CAT score and the extracurricular. Okay,
so it varies for every B school. We can check in the respective website. But what actually happens is like every institute around 60% of thing like they focus on the CAT score, Rest 40 it will be on your past academics, your work ex, and your gender diversity and academic diversity thing. And once all these things happen, you will be getting shortlisted, and then you will be getting into the GDPI round. So in GDPI round, once your GDPI completed, again the weightage is 50-50, where 50% will be given to the CAT score and 50 will be GDPI score, and then they will be calculating the cumulative score, on basis of which you will be getting your final merit list.
Okay. So what gonna be the last minute tips that you want to give for the upcoming CAT aspirants?
Oh man. So last minute take, like, look man, like first of all,
Look, it's gonna be a tips.
yeah, like look, CAT is not that difficult to crack. It's a very easy exam, and I would say don't panic, don't get too emotional, and look, the exam is relative. It's not like, look bro, last year the paper was easy, this year the paper was tough. Look, if it is really tough for you, it will be tough for everyone else. So don't, like, it's a totally relative exam. It's a percentile game. So yeah, like, give mocks low. I would like to say a funny incident. What happens is, like, I gave around 60 to 70 mocks. So it somewhere like calmed my nerves. So when I was really sitting on my CAT examination day, so there was a point, like, for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I was not taking one stress. Like, I was solving the questions, was humming a song. I was like, and I was really solving. Then I was like, man, this is CAT exam, please focus. Why that happened? Why I was not in the pressure? Just because I solved these many mocks in the day. So when you solve a lot of mocks, it kind of, like, the CAT itself become another mocks. So you won't be having that pressure. So when you work, when you won't be having, like, what if, like, we remember, like, when we give our JEE exam or CAT exam, some of these competitive exam, we are really high on pressure. Like, what if things goes wrong? Again, my 1 year will be wasted and all. So mocks is something that is really crucial. It will help you, like, develop your strength. It will help you address your weaknesses and all. Yeah, so I will just tell you, like, don't panic. Believe in yourself, like, believe in your preparation and all, and give as many mocks as possible. And not only give them, rather analyze them, where you are wasting your time, which is your strength, which is your weakness, and get your basics right. That's it.
Yeah. So we are done with the questions. So thanks for having in this podcast. So done, guys. We are done with the episode, and in the next episode we are going to be with the new friend. So thanks for having Ashribad.
Yeah,
so
thanks,
bye.